Okay, so let's talk about your life with Roy and Flo. So what happened?
Roy was one of these passive aggressives that said little,
Mm-hmm.
listened, said little.
Mm-hmm.
Flora was going to beat me into submission no matter what.
That's nice.
I can remember her putting me on the dining room table in San Diego, printing, and smacking my hands because I didn't print right. She wanted perfect printing. I was 4. This is when they first took me. They were living in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing she tried to do is break me of wetting the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So she diapered me so I was like this, I can remember. And I had on this red and white checked flannel nightgown.
Mm-hmm.
And I masturbated because that's what they taught you. In those lands over there that are so filthy dirty, they didn't let kids put their hands in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like sucking your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to break me of it. And the more that she went into punishing,
Mm-hmm.
the worse it got.
Mm-hmm.
She's tied me spread eagle in my bed, in my crib.
Mm-hmm.
Tarpa sheet tied my
For all night.
I like that, so that I wouldn't masturbate
All night.
all night.
Wow.
Then she put me down for a nap one day and put a diaper on me. And this is the defiance of me. I can remember doing this.
Mm-hmm.
She left the drawer ajar, and I was pretending to sleep, and I saw it. So I tried just to squirt a drop. But she obviously saw me straining.
Mm-hmm.
Came in, saw the wet diaper, and I got beaten.
Mm-hmm.
Merciful. She just was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy built me a playhouse off of the garage. It was a big, pretty good-sized room.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat and Bud, her great niece and nephew, her middle sister, Madge, their kids were visiting. And I spotted a knothole in one of the boards up there, and Bud said, let's knock it out and take buckets of water and pour it through. Well, we were a muddy mess.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Mother Madge came out and found us, had a fit. Well, she just took her kids and showered them and put clean clothes on. Flora beat this. And because she said I was masturbating, I didn't have no way.
She had a real thing about that, didn't she?
She really did. And anyway, so the masturbating must have gotten so severe because she put me in a sanitarium in San Diego. I thought I could remember it was Sunshine something or other.
Mm-hmm.
And they washed your hair with kerosene because kids came in there with nits in their hair.
Right.
And I can remember there was a tree stump out in the yard, and they put the bucket of kerosene and put all the kids, and they lined you all, everybody got it.
Mm.
Then before dinner, we had to take our temperature rectally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are all older kids. I didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried and kept missing. One of the girls came over and helped me put the damn thermometer in. Excuse me for swearing, but
All right.
the image of it still bugs me. And so that went on, and then I had to make my bed, and it had to be made, throw the quarter on it and it'll flip. And I learned to make my bed perfectly when I was 4 years old.
How long were you in this joint anyway? How long were you in this
I
place?
don't really know, but I know while I was there, these people, their name were Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, and they came in this big old funny car. It was like a convertible, but it was all open. I guess it was called a touring car.
Yeah.
And because this is in the 30s, and they took me to the hospital to have my tonsils out.
Mm.
And they left me. I was absolutely frantic. What are they doing to me?
Mm-hmm.
Had no idea. Then they came in and tried to woo me with a bathing cap
Mm-hmm.
to save my pretty curls. Well, what they were doing was giving me ether. Why the bathing cap? I don't know, but it was done because I had a repeat performance later on.
It's amazing that you remember this, really, honestly.
Well, because they're not pleasant.
Well, no, they're horrible. So you were 4 or 5 at this point, or
I
maybe
think
older?
about 4.5.
Yeah.
Now, because we're still in San Diego, we hadn't moved to Brea yet.
Okay.
Because at Brea, I was 5 because I went to kindergarten there.
Well, they finally took you back in their house, right? I mean,
Yeah, but I don't remember being. Yes, I do remember being picked up in the hospital by Flora, and I was crying, and she threatened me. You know, I'll give you something to cry about.
Did you ever have a good time with them at all?
Yeah, when I was on my own, if I got all my work done, cleaned the house, emptied the slop jars, rinsed them out, made sure they were clean. For her specification, I didn't use them. Neither did Daddy. She did, but I was the slop jar lady. And one time, when we first, I'm jumping ahead of myself, we went to Lucerne Valley when I was 6, because I started first grade there. And the house we lived in had water, but it was a saltwater well, and the lines were pretty well jammed up, so Daddy built an outhouse because the toilet just would not flush.
Was that in San Diego or Brea?
No, this is in Lucerne.
Lucerne.
Past Brea.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember too much about Brea.
How old are you now when you're in Lucerne, do you think?
6, went there when I was kindergarten.
Okay.
We were only in Brea, I think, about a year. Because I finished kindergarten. I remember in kindergarten, I got to be the hostess, and I remember sipping off the top of all the orange juice. They were all full.
So
you
you
get to do that again.
but you did occasionally have. I mean, there were occasional white moments.
Because when I was alone, I could go anywhere and do anything. And I used to walk a lot. I always had a dog, and I walked up to the buttes, and I'd sing at the top of my voice.
Yeah.
And I'd talk to people, and I'd make up stories.
Yeah.
And Grandpa and Grandma lived right behind us. They moved up there when I was about 3rd grade, I think. And
so you're about 9, 8 or 9.
Listen, her mother and stepfather. And I got some care then. Flora didn't take care of me.
Was she ever nice to you ever at all?
No.
Oh.
Never said I love you. Never said One time, when I had kids, she said, "You know, you did a lot of good things." And then later, I don't remember where we were. She said, "You know, we built the house with your money."
Oh.
Well, I knew the money had disappeared.
Yeah.
And when my grandmother died, she left equal to her 3 boys and me, except Uncle Earl got the house.
Wow.
So there was a whole corner of property. And when that sold, we paid him off what he wanted. And with money he was going to come back. Never did. She asked me to turn that $20,000 over to them. This is in 1945. That was a lot of money. And I later on, I kicked myself 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Because she gambled away in the parlors. And
we're gonna take a little break, and then we're gonna come back and talk more about. I hope not so much about Flo. Sounds horrible.
Finished it. Did you turn it off?
Not yet.